What's going on, everybody? It's Davey from the 80s, and you are now entering the Cinema Chop Shop. So park your ass right there. While there, don't forget to hit the like, the share, the subscribe button. Also, if you check the link below, you see a Patreon account. If you click, you become a member. All you got to do is try, recommend movies and music and trailers from the react to. So click the link. Now, with that being said, we are here today to review that Netflix documentary called The Hatchet Wielding Hitchhiker. Now, this story is about a viral sensation by the name of Kai. This is kind of like an hour, 30-minute documentary. If you guys were into that documentary they did, I think it was called Don't Fuck with Cats, then this might be up your alley. This is a documentary follows the life of a random hitchhiker who apparently saved the lives of some random people because they were being threatened by some dude who's high, and he pinned some guy against another car, and he comes in, saves the day with a hatchet, right? So he's been dubbed the hatchet wielding hitchhiker. So let's just go ahead and get into it. Honestly, if you guys like documentaries, you will definitely like the hatchet wielding hitchhiker, especially because me personally, I didn't really know much about him. I remember seeing memes. I might have seen the video, but like not with audio or anything. So I'm not very sure about the context of like how I was presented with this character. Like I've seen his face before, I've seen the imagery before, but I wasn't aware of any of the other stuff. I wasn't aware of his music. I wasn't aware of like the case that he had pending. I wasn't aware of any of that stuff. So obviously, if this story is going to be about a documentary following a homeless man, it has to go somewhere, right? And it kind of makes you start to wonder, like, whatever happened to some of these other viral sensations from way back when YouTube and everything started popping up. When the word viral became barely started, I remember there was that homeless guy who had that voice that sounded like a radio personality, like, and I remember he got a job working for like a local baseball. He got a couple of gigs, like he was doing like some announcement gigs. And I remember them saying like he kind of fell off after that. And this also kind of reminds me of that movie, The Soloist, with Jamie Foxx, when he was that homeless guy who was like a violin protege or whatever. And dude just kind of fell apart because of his mental health. And because of that, he never really reached the potential that he could have, And we have another situation where you have this hitchhiker by the name of Kai who shows like extraordinary like skill set. Like, dude, he's able to talk. He's able to kind of he's able to like maneuver through life freely, and he survived this long without, becoming, I would say, like maybe like a heroin or addict or a crackhead, at least from my knowledge. He just seemed like a pothead and an alcoholic. But scratch all that. I mean, dude, regardless of the situation, was kind of talented. He had a little bit of personality that if you put him in front of a camera, it would kind of shine. It was kind of shine a little bit. He was kind of likable at times. And also the dude he could play guitar. He was able to play several instruments. So it makes you wonder, like, okay, where did this go wrong at? Like, dude was obviously talented. I wish it would have kind of maybe dug deeper a little bit more into his backstory. We got like a brief, small glance at like his life prior, but it wasn't really. I really felt like they should have kind of maybe dived a little bit deeper into his past. We spent a lot of time on him as a viral sensation and him popping up on people and things like that. And it just would have been better to kind of like have more people talk about their relationships with him. Maybe track down some people that he did videos with, track down some people that he met up with, and had like different people's opinion on him. Because we really see a lot of this through the eyes of maybe like 4 to 5 people: his mom, his cousin, the reporter guy that broke his news that basically made him become famous, and then the 2 producer people that were responsible for watching him when he was going to Jimmy Kimmel. All right, so we only really see about like 5 people's perspective. And I really wish it would have, and there's some other people sprinkled in here and there, but I really wish that like there was a musician that he worked with, right? I wish we would have got more stories like that, where it was like an outsider's perspective of like, okay, he said this, and then you start to really kind of put it together. Because watching the documentary, you're just like, okay, like I see the setup, I see where they're going with it, especially because they kind of introduced it at the beginning. They're like, oh, well, You know, who would have known that this dude was able to do this? You know, or who, like, you know, and they keep hinting at it, hinting at it, hinting at it. And I really wish they probably would have went in a little bit more detail from more people that have observed this behavior versus like the people that, you know, are in Hollywood. You get what I'm saying? Like when you kind of run across people that are in Hollywood, you kind of get, I want to say, a tainted perspective. And I feel like when we heard that musician talk about Kai, that was like an honest, straight up, just like, you know, unbiased opinion on his experience with Kai. Because the main guy that talks about Kai when you're watching it, he seems like he's like enamored with him. Like he seems like he really like loves this guy. Like he has some sort of like infatuation with him. And he's like, oh yeah, he's calling me right now. Like they still talk on the phone. And it makes it seem like, okay, maybe he has this personal connection with him because of this guy. Maybe, you know, you were propelled into a bigger role on your channel, and you know your whole fame is kind of riding on him. So maybe you're just looking for more ways to kind of exploit him. At least that's the way I'm looking at it, because he tries to present it as he's not exploiting him, but definitely everybody in this damn movie or this documentary exploited him in some way or another. And it backfired. It completely backfired. Again, once you get to the end of the documentary, you'll kind of see what Kai got himself into. It's kind of interesting when you're watching it. I kind of want to go into a spoiler category. So if you guys have not seen the documentary, I would recommend watching it, especially if you're a documentary buff. I would really recommend watching it. It's fun. It's only an hour and 30 minutes. It goes by really quick, and it's not long-winded. It gets straight to the point. So I will recommend watching it. But if you have seen it, stay tight. Give me a second. Let these people that have not seen it leave, and then we can talk a little bit about some spoilers. All right, so that should be enough time for you guys to have exited the building. The one thing that kind of caught me off guard was this, and it's funny because one of the guys in it says it. Kai uses the defense that, so again, recap, Kai ends up killing this elderly man who's like 70-something years old, right? And it's kind of crazy too, because when you think about it, Kai was hitchhiking with another elderly man, and that's the dude that killed the guy, pinned the dude against the car, and jumped out and was like attacking that one lady. So again, it's a weird thing where Kai seems to be getting picked up by elderly men, you know. So Kai, his defense is that supposedly he was being sexually assaulted by these older men, you know. And we have the question of validity of it, because later on you see Kai in a video recording at a train station with a ticket, getting a ticket, and the elderly dude was buying him a ticket to go somewhere, right? And Kai willingly asks this elderly man or this older gentleman to go back to his house and crash there again tonight. And that was the night that he murdered him, right? So you have these questions where it's like, okay, if this dude really sexually assaulted you, then why the fuck are you going back, you know? And it's one of these things where I'm inclined to think that Kai was selling his ass. You know what I'm saying? I think that Kai was probably selling his ass for a place to stay. And then basically his mental mind state, obviously he probably warped it to be something that it wasn't. And he ended up flipping out and killing the dude, right? Because he had this strange idea of justice, you know, for the vulnerable, justice for the weak, and justice for those that have been taken advantage of. But I question the validity of Kai himself was taken advantage of, because he was so willing to go back to this man's house and spend the night at his house and do all of this stuff again. It's like, if this dude just raped you, then why would you go back to his house? You get what I'm saying? And again, there's these little things all throughout the film where you just question like his motives, you know. Honestly, to me, I really think they would have been better off just letting him go about his business. When he said that he wanted to get high and go to Bakersfield, they should just let him, you know, and just, I think they could have avoided all this. I think the fame went to his head. And because of that, because he was off the grid. He wasn't talking to people like that. He wasn't messaging people like that. It wasn't until he got famous where he got that phone, he started charging it, and he started talking to people and conversing with people and asking people to stay at his house. If he never would have got that fame, he never would have got that phone. He never would have got that phone. He never would have been so open to have these dialogues and discussions with people. Now, if he didn't kill somebody beforehand, then it is what it is. But at the same time, I can't confirm or deny what was it like that occasion when he was talked about he beat the dude and he had like the little marks on his knuckle. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think that Kai's case is real? You think he really got molested by a dude and he really just got mad and beat him to death? Or do you think, like me, Kai was selling his ass for a place to stay, and then maybe his mental mind state flipped what it was and made it something else, and that's why he flipped out and killed the dude? Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. But I would recommend watching it. It's something fun to watch. Hour and 30 minutes, not too steep, but that's my review. Let me know if you agree or disagree, whatever the case may be. Drop it in the comment section down below. And you are now exiting the Cinema Chop Shop. Hope you guys have a magnificent day. Adios, homies.